Good morning, guys. I hope you guys are doing well. Happy Friday. This is supposedly the last day of the court proceedings of the Senzo Meyiwa trial. We are hoping that they are going to extend the next week, but time will tell when they have discussions today. We will hear from them. I hope everyone is okay. You slept well. Yonke into nje ihamba kahle. We have only 10 minutes, so let me do this very quickly. I just want to take us to the book of Joshua very fast. The book of Joshua is one of the books that is making me live today. We will talk about that, but what we're going to read now is the First Corinthians chapter 10 verses 11. That's what we are going to read. Now these things happened to them as an example, but they were written down for our instruction, on whom the end of ages has come. Now these things have happened. Now these things happened to them as an example, but they were written down for our instruction, on whom the end of ages has to come. I don't know if anyone understands ukuthi what is being trying to uzama ukuthwani the text. I'm not sure, but this quote is coming from the book of Corinthians chapter 10, 1 Corinthians chapter 10, and it's one of the things or it's the time whereby in the past the experiences of ancient Israel were written down as warnings and examples for people living in the time of the early church, upon whom the end of ages has come. The passage continues by saying these examples are intended to instruct people to be careful and not to fall into sin, because God will not allow temptations to be more than a person can bear, and will provide a way to escape. And the purpose of this example is that Israel back then used to do so many mistakes. Mistakes were presented as examples for us, or object lessons, to serve as a warning and instruction for us believers in this current time. And the audience that was being targeted was now, as the New Testament era, the period of the whereby people will be looking into the lives of back in the day of Israel, leading up to the final times of life. And the moral and the spiritual lesson from this passage is it uses examples to issue warnings. So if you think you are standing firm, be careful that you do not fall. And it also leads to promises of God's and the people that are faithful to him and his faithfulness. It includes with the promise that God is faithful and will not allow a person to be tempted beyond their ability to endure, and will always provide a way out of temptation. And the reason I said my focus today is on the book of Joshua, because we're going to talk a lot about Joshua. I have 5 takes that I will give you guys, and then off we go. Four, from the Hebrews. Yeah, from the Hebrews, that's where we are going. Takeaway number 1. Faith is a prerequisite for everything. Prerequisite for everything. Forgiveness, salvation, inheritance, earthly or heavenly. You need to have faith. And then Hebrews chapter 4 says, verse 9, says, there remains therefore a rest for the people of God. Rest, you need to relax, especially on the Sabbath day. And then the Sabbath keeping the law, the Sabbath about rest, all of that situation, we do need rest. And the second takeaway, only Jesus can give us his rest. He is our peace, not the world, not as the world gives. He is our joy, he is our salvation. He is our assurance, and he is our ultimate rest. And we know that when creation was made, on the 7th day, God rested. So he forgives, he saves, he sanctifies. That's what he wants to do for us. Takeaway number 3, experience the rest in God. Experience the rest in God. So yesterday I spoke about us believing in God and giving everything into his hands. giving everything into his hand because he's the only one who has powers. So for us to be able to live a life that is anxiety free in a way, we need to take all our worries and give to God. So the takeaways that I have: faith is a prerequisite for everything. Only Jesus Christ can give us his rest. Experience the rest of the Sabbath, and choice matters. When we are making choices in life, we must know that the choices that we are making today are going to show up on our tomorrows. The choices that we are making up today are going to show up in our tomorrows. And why was I mentioning the book of Joshua? Because Joshua is the one man that was like, I am going to stand, me and my house are going to stand in the presence of the Lord. I spoke about that because right now where we are and what is happening in our lives currently, it needs people that are going to have a stand, that are going to stand like that and say, I will believe in God no matter what happens. Right now, what happens with the Senzomiwa case, it requires people that have faith and people that believe that God is going to make it happen, that people will not have the final say with dirty tricks. People will not have this final say with dirty tricks. The Lord is going to take charge and show us, and he will show up, show us, show off, and show people that he is the Lord. And people right now, things may look like the devil is winning, the devil has the ultimate power, the devil has the last upper hand, whatever. But the bottom line is that when the time comes, it becomes like a split second. It take over. It becomes like a split second, and after that, we forget how did I even entertain the pain? How did I even entertain the anxiety? Right now, whoever is dealing with whatever, the comparison of Joshua and Jesus is that Joshua at some point was some type of Jesus. The name Joshua even means Jesus. The original name was Hoshea, meaning that he saves. Moses changed his name to Joshua, means the Lord saves. Hebrew version of it all, that of Joshua is Yoshua, means Yahweh saves. So that is what we need currently where we are. We need to understand that whatever happens in life, whatever that looks like the devil is winning, you must know that win is temporarily, but uThixo will come through and strip him off all those so-called powers. Whatever that you are going through, just know that uThixo khona and uThixo uyayazi into ayenzayo. Thina we want a speed that is going to take us kwizinto ngespeed sethu. uThixo does a 360 on situations. uThixo does a 360 on situations and show people ukuthi I gave you time, make it right, you refused. When he comes for collection, uThixo akahleki. As much as engahleki, he becomes, as much as enguThixo onothando onenceba, when he comes for you, stop her from doing whatever that is wrong that you are, still he comes with inceba yakhe. That's the kind of a man that God is. He's a gentleman. Even in anger, he becomes a gentleman. But what we are saying today is that noba kwenzeka ntoni na, uThixo khona and uThixo uyingcibi, uThixo ayikho into emohlulayo, uThixo liliwa lethu. That is what we trust. Noba kubukeka ngathi uJudge Ratha angabagweba abafana, noba kubukeka ngathi abo baloyi bayawina, oGininda bayawina, ndifuna wazi lento, just one thing: uThixo ukhona, uThixo akasostenge, uThixo uyayazi into ayenzayo, and ngexesha elirayithi uzayistopha yonke inonsense eyenzekayo. uThixo is not a man that lies. uThixo is not a man that takes nonsense. He may look like uyayithatha, but when he deals with the person owenza nonsense, kuba buhlungu. At the same time, that person uye avuma ukuthi inene wena nguThixo. So iwari zenu mayibe ziwari, kodwa ingabi ziwari ezicinga fanele uThixo is incapable. uThixo unakho, uzawuyenza ngexesha lakhe. The three Hebrew boys also said kule king yaseBhabheli, ukuba uThixo ukhona, wena asoze sikukhonze, kodwa yena noba kwenzeka ntoni na sizawuma siguqe kuye, hayi wena. So we are serving such a God othatha ixesha lakhe ngezinto, and sometimes we always feel ukuthi uThixo akayenzi justice because uthatha ixesha. Guys, ndicela nazi lento, the name justice comes directly from God. He is justice. He will never let the word justice to be used in vain. He will never let the word justice to be used in vain. He will never allow justice to go on and on, but it will prevail because God is justice. God is justice. He will never allow, especially with us everywhere across the world, across the country. We are praying and begging Him to do right by these accused, by the Meyiwa family. We are saying, yes, they have done wrong in their past life. It does not mean they've done this one. What we are crying for as the country is a fair and a just way of dealing with them and of dealing with things. We want the culprit that ended the life of Senzo Meyiwa. That's what we want. It's not about the accused per se, but it's about the right thing and it's about the right justice. And we are justifiable when we are seeking that from God. That is all we are crying for. That is all we are asking. Do the right thing, show up, show off, and show people that they can try and do the merry-go-round. But when not ufaki stop to the nonsense and you end the laughter, you end the joke. That is the God that we serve, and that is why now I'm always staying in the faith side. Lo uhleli kwisitulo sikaThixo unguJudge Ratha, suppose ba wenza umsebenzi kaThixo, wenza ukuthanda kwakhe phayana, uThixo will deal with him ngendlela emfaneleyo. Masithandazeni egameni loyiselo nyane lomoya ingcwele bawumala usolungileyo ekuseni nje siyakubulela kuwe ngothando nangenxeba yakho, amandla akho nobukhulu bakho. Ekuseni nje ke Thixo siza kuwe sisithi thina singabantwana bakho sihleli kwiindawo ezohlukile, sithembe wena Thixo, sazi wena, sazi ubukhulu bakho, sazi indawo esikhuphe kuzo, sazi indawo esihambe kuzo, sazi imingxunyo esikhuphe kuyo nemigxobhozo silande kuyo Nkosi. Kwezinye indawo sizifakile kwizinto esizenzile, just like the accused. Some of them are guilty of certain crimes that they have done, but when unguThixo awumlahli umuntu, and umuntu umfuna eguqukile kwisimo ebesiso izolo, xa kusisa namhlanje umfuna different somebody. That is the God that you are. Siza kuwe ekuseni nje sisithi sinomthandazo wodwa nje kuwe Thixo, senzele inxeba ngento eyi-1. We don't want the Meyiwa family never to know what happened to their son. Asifuna umama kaSenzo ashone engakaze azi ukuthi kwenzeka ntoni kuSenzo, ngubani owaphula i-trigger that ended life wakhe. That is all we are requesting from you, God. Ngenelela kuzo zonke theatrics that are happening. Yiba nguThixo, show up and do the right thing. Show people that wena you will always have the final say. Singayenzi theater thina singabantu ezantsi emhlabeni, kodwa wena nguThixo kugqibela wena kwizinto zonke. You are Alpha, you are Omega. People can try and imitate you, bazenze Alpha no Omega ezantsi emhlabeni, kodwa there is always you, a God that created us people, abazala apha emhlabeni bafike bazenze Alpha no Omega. Ngenelela Thixo uthabatha indawo, sibiza wena. Ifamily yakwaMoyiwa iyakudinga ngalamaxesha obunzima, iyakudinga ukuthi ubapha amandla kuyo yonke into ethi mayenzeke Nkosi. Sicela wena unikeze umama kaSenzo ixesha ayi-experience justice yomntanakhe, ayibone ijustice isenzeka, ayazi uba umntanakhe itrigger yambulalayo yayiphuma ezandleni zikabani na, asazi isizathu saloo kwakwenzeka ntoni na, yayisithini i-conversation. Yiba nguThixo ubonakala, uthabatha indawo. Simema wena ngale ntseni namhlanje ukuthi ube nabo ke Nkosi, no defense lawyers Nkosi, they go through a lot because of the justice that they are seeking for this case. Yiba nguThixo ube nabo kwizindlu zabo, emakhayeni wabo, kwiifamily zabo, bafihle phansi kwephiko lakho, ubatshize ngegazi lakho elingcwele, uba protected Thixo kuzo zonke iingelosi zakho, mazihambe nabo kwiindawo ngeendawo abakuzo. Yiba nguThixo uba protect kwizinto abazityayo, kwizinto abaziselayo. Yiba nguThixo uthabatha indawo, uba protect kuthi ngqa abantu. If there are people who are trying anything ngobomi babo, be it through food, be it through drinks, be it in surveillance, yiba nguThixo eyakho i-surveillance mayingodlulwa ngumntu osezantsi omhlabeni Thixo, ngoba wena nguThixo wazi even iinwele zethu bazingaphi na. Awunokohlulwa sithi, awunokohlulwa sithi, awunokohlulwa ngabantu ababhizi ngobuxoki. Yiba nguThixo uthabatha indawo, unguThixo wejustice. Phakama ke Nkosi, wenza inceba yakho ngoKristu uthandazeka. Amen. Enkosini guys, thank you so much. So that is what we will do here. Even next week, if they decide to come back, that's what we will do. We will continue praying, especially for the defense lawyers, because they are under pressure. And we will also pray especially for the Meyiwa family. Nabo, they are going through the most, I'm sure. That is what we do here. We pray as this family. We pray and pray and pray, because that's the only thing that we can do, is to pray to God. So siyambiza kuThixo ukuthi angenelele kule situation. Nani guys kwindawo ngendawo enihleli kuzo, please make sure you pray. You pray for the defense lawyers, you pray for the accused, and you pray for everyone who is somehow you pray for Gwabini. If there is no the recess starts today. Please guys, wherever you are, sit down and pray for Gwabini. Mention amagama wakhe, usifise Gwabini Zungu, uThixo amfihle abe naye. We know how the devil works. Shame the devil. Let's shame the devil by praying for igama likasifiso Zungu ukuthi akwazi ubuya azoyichaza lento yenzekile, ayichaze yonke lenyani. Sibiza uThixo, ayikho into esinokuyenza, ayikho into esiyithembayo, ayikho into esiyifundisiwe ukuthi uThixo uyingcwele, and uThixo ngumuntu wenyani, and uThixo uluthando uyinceba, uyabathanda bonke abantu bakhe, naboni abaguqukayo uyabathanda and ubafuna beguqukile. Ndiyabulela kuni guys for ukunithemba ukuthi ndenze le session. Enkosi kakhulu. I think uMashiba sekavulile ngoku guys, ningaya pha kwinansi kwicala lakhe join apha later on. Enkosi kakhulu. Nibe nemini emnandi guys, uThixo anisikelele nithamsanqolise. Whatever that you are going through, just know that faith will take you places. Faith will take you places. Mthemba uThixo noba imeko zithini na. Uthembekile kwaye unamandla kwaye mkhulu. Kwaye mkhulu unako. Kungabonakala ngathi uSathane uyawina, kungabonakala ngathi uSathane uthathe over, kodwa wazi lento there is a God. Mbize umkhalele, uzibize ngamagama izinto ezifunayo. Ubize igama lakho, uliyeke le family, uziyeke into yoba ndinguNoni Madikela, umyeke uMadikela udile noNoni. When you speak to God, ithi ndim uNoni, kulibonakala ngathi ungilibele. Mbizeni especially this December. Ni-enjoy ke guys ilanga leni. Enkosini kakhulu. Bye-bye. Ayikaqala icase guys. Molweni nani ku-YouTube. Nolweni nani ku-YouTube. Ayikaqala icase guys kwelo cala. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Ayikaqali sivuyiswe, ayikaqali. I'm busy with training lana. Busy with training. Godfrey, hi God, thank you for your prayer. And may God protect everyone and be blessed. Thank you, Vui. Amen, sister. Thank you, Ngezwile Nkosi. Andile Kendrika. Thank you, Snaga. Romeo. Hi, Romeo David. Hello, everyone, all of you. Hi, even the ones that I can't see their names. Hi, guys. Anyway. Case, let me see. Today is the 5th. Let me see.
Luno is celebrating 500 days since.
Oh, okay. So we can have a conversation tonight on YouTube. Okay. Let's have a quick conversation. I did some research. I did some research for you guys. Where is this? I'm opening it quickly. I did a video. I just posted it, I think 10 minutes ago. It will be nice for you to go to that video and listen to it. Okay, before Jabra Takal, because it's about the Kappa case, the ruling impact of that Kappa, I'm gonna go to the last bit of it. Kappa bombshell. Yeah, Kumbula guys, the homework that Judge Ratawa left the defense and the accused. Sorry, the state. Yes, I'm just gonna go through a little bit of that video that I did. Okay, why this matters for Gwabini's statement and the homework assignment. From what you describe, okay, apparently in the case involving Gwabini, the judge, Rata Mukwatleng, adjourning leaving the defense and prosecution with a homework assignment after arguments. That suggests that the judge recognized a complicated evidentiary issue like relating to hearsay or admissibility. and he wants parties to address some questions or produce further evidence or arguments. Because of Kapa, the court must scrutinize any hearsay statement, like from Gwabini, in terms of fairness, reliability, and whether there is independent corroboration. The homework could be the request for both parties to demonstrate or test whether the Gwabini statement meets the statutory and constitutional criteria for admissibility. Show whether there is independent objective evidence corroborating the core parts of the statement, e.g. presence at the crime scene, identification, events described, etc. Analyze potential prejudice for the accused if hearsay is admitted and tested. Possible proposed safeguards, e.g. excluding parts, calling additional witnesses. In other words, the court is not simply going to rubber stamp hearsay. The Kapa ruling erects a clear barrier. Hearsay only identifications without corroboration are likely unconstitutional and unfair. What Baloyi must prove, the so-called Gwabini statement likely means and challenges. If Baloyi must prove, you mean the accused or defense must show that the Gwabini statement should be excluded or its admissibility challenged, then under Kapa, the burden is likely on court or state to show admissibility is proper, but the defense can show that reliance solely on hearsay, especially for identification, is unsafe. If there is no independent corroboration, defense or court may argue that the statement should be excluded or at least treated with extreme caution. The homework or assignment Rata gave could be a mechanism to that challenge, forcing parties to present all evidence, arguments, and possible corroboration so court can assess fairly. So the judge might be signaling that unless the state can meet the requirements or the defense can show the statement is unreliable or uncorroborated, the hearsay Gwabini statement may not or should not be admitted, or at least not used as decisive evidence for conviction. This does not guarantee and what remains uncertain. However, even though Kapa set a strong precedent, it does not automatically invalidate every hearsay statement or guarantee acquittal. The admissibility or weight will always depend on context. As the court in Kapa said, sometimes hearsay may be admissible if there is sufficient corroboration and probative value. Thus, for the Gwabini statement, if there is independent, reliable corroboration, then it might still be admitted or relied upon. If the court deems there are sufficient indicators of truthfulness, the hearsay might survive. The homework might lead to additional evidence which, depending on its strength, could trip the balance either way. Based on if Judge Rata may demand strong corroboration, given the high stakes, likely a criminal trial, and given Kapa warning about the unreliability of untested hearsay identification, I think a judge who adjourns to give a homework is acting either responsible or unresponsible. The defense should scrutinize every facet. Independent evidence, for example, forensic eyewitnesses, admission timelines, etc. If they cannot, then admitting the statement would risk violating fair trial rights, and any resulting conviction would be vulnerable on appeal or possible miscarriage of justice. So that is one of the other things. So the quick recap is this. What Kapa actually challenged from Constitutional Court's own material, we already talked about this. The court laid down a structure, interest of justice analysis. That might be something that Judge Rata is going to look into. Okay, and secondly, recent post-Kapa case is that actually use it. It's from after the 24th of January, the Kapa judgment date. It's another one, Ramakau versus State, 28 October 2025, Court Free State Division appeal. It was a great matter. They used also the Kapa matter. Court leans on Kapa's explanation on hearsay, and the interest of justice test decides how much weight to give hearsay aspects around consent and whatnot. It treats Kapa as the leading authority on how to admit or evaluate hearsay in a criminal case. And then unknown name Gauteng Division, Pretoria, they also dealing with the hearsay. The constitutional overlay admitting hearsay has to be squared with the fair trial rights. That's the other part. This shows the High Court is using Kapa as a framework whenever hearsay is put forward, not just leaving it as a passing reference. Then there was another in Mpumalanga. They also used Ukapa. So again, Kapa was used to police how hearsay is admitted and weighed. Another one, Free State again, that context from the snippets of Kapa treated currently binding constitutional authority on hearsay and fairness. And then another one, Gauteng Division, they also use Kapa. The academic commentary in journals like the South African Journal of Criminal Justice, a case notes also treated Kapa as a landmark for hearsay, constantly cited in discussions of fair trial rights and Section 3. So we will see. And then also every time post 2023, the Kapa judgment pops up as an anchor. What all of this means for the Gwabini statement. Now, Judge Rata's homework around the so-called Gwabini statement. Judge cannot just assume the statement is valid because of Kapa and the way high courts are using it. Judge Rata is almost forced to identify clearly if Gwabini statement is hearsay, if yes, which provision that he can use, apply the full interest of justice test from Kapa, nature of proceedings, a serious criminal trial, heavy liberty interest, and the purpose of the statement. Is it going to identify accused, place them at the crime scene, or prove key elements? Probative value, is it detailed, consistent, inherent, plausible? Why is Gwabini was not allowed to testify, or why was he allegedly denied the opportunity? And alternative ways the defense has or doesn't have to challenge the allegation. So that's the other thing. What Baloyi must prove the so-called statement really means, given Kapa and the other cases, he must prove the statement. Prove that the statement exists, show which, under which Section 3 bracket 1 bracket route they are trying to admit it. If they admit, prove independent corroboration for its key allegations, address why Gwabini himself was not led by the state. Do you see as a witness and what that means for fairness? The defense, on the other hand, can use Kapa or the other cases post Kapa. If the statement is decisive and untested, interests of justice do not favor admission. This equals the minority in Kapa, or at a very least, court should give a very little weight unless backed by strong objective corroboration. In simple terms, the homework Judge Rata gave telling Balo, you don't just say Gwabini said so. You must prove the statement's existence, reliability, and fairness under Kapa. So we are going to see ukuthi uBaloyi uzothini. The strategic choice for Judge Rata after the arguments, so this person gave one, admit the statement fully, but he must write a long, careful Kapa style analysis explaining why interests of justice are met and what corroboration exists. This is what later High Court judgment have been doing when they allow hearsay. Admit it, but with a warning bells and limited weight. Rely on it only where it matches strong independent evidence, and say clearly that without the corroboration it will carry little weight. Third option, refuse to admit it or treat it as effectively useless, using the minority reasoning in Kapa and the general caution in the post-Kapa cases. He could say, given the centrality of this statement and the lack of fair testing, interest of justice doesn't allow me to rely on it. Which way he goes will pivot heavily on whether Gwabini was genuinely blocked from testifying versus simply unavailable. How convincingly Baloyi can prove the statement and tie it to solid corroboration. So that is where we are with everything when it comes to that. So that's the research that I did. Ukuthi, those points, Kapa is in constitutional court law, and other courts already been using it. The burden is practical, not just legal. Baloyi has to do more than name dropping. He must back that statement with proof and corroboration. Gwabini's voice versus hearsay about Gwabini. Kapa's obsession is, was the accused able to cross-examine the person whose words are being used against them? That's the heart of they denied the opportunity argument, because that's what happened. Why didn't they allow this man to come and give his witnessing or testimony during the state case? Thank you so much. To the who gave hey EIOEL, thank you so much. US dollars, $20. Thank you. Yeah, where have you been? Blessings from Chicago. Where have you been? I haven't seen you in a very long time. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate all of you for supporting my channel and for always being here. Thank you so much. I will see you during tea time. Enjoy. Let's go and watch the case. I'm sure it has started now. I'm sure. I know it hasn't. I was worried. I'm sure they are on their way, but let me have my breakfast and be busy with other things. But guys, do you get, okay, it's starting now. Do you see what's happening there? Do you see what's going on? Yep. They need to prove it, but either way, Judge Rata may do whatever he likes, you know him. But we have the law, we read it now. Bye, guys.